run in the rain, it may become more of the norm next year, and we may see some lights or something like that for road courses.
Right. And the whole time that race is coming to a conclusion, I'm thinking, man, what a wheelman Briscoe is. Like, the guy just wins everywhere.
Right.
In the rain.
He's good, man.
Not
He's
a road
good.
course guy, really. It's Cindric, it's Allmendinger, and here comes Briscoe contending for the win.
Well, don't Briscoe's no slouch. He won the first ever Roval.
He's not. The Indy one, right? Or
No,
maybe
he
the
won
Charlotte.
uh the first one in Charlotte, I believe.
Okay. All right. And I don't think we got a chance to talk about the Boyer news either as far as it goes with
No,
Briscoe.
that just came out after we were recording
Yeah, so
last week.
Clint Boyer's going to the booth next year. It's confirmed. He's done. He's retiring. And it's not a done deal yet, but I would think Briscoe's got to get that car next year.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the longer we wait on that announcement, remember the contract's not with Stuart Haas, it's with Ford. So
True.
who knows? It's still, to me, it's between Larson going to Stuart Haas or Larson going to Hendrick, and
Yeah.
I mean, whichever piece of that puzzle falls first is going to be probably what happens with Briscoe afterwards.
Right. Well, speaking of Hendrick, shifting to the Cup Series, Chase Elliott gets the win at the Roval. What a surprise there. What is his fourth straight road course win, I believe?
Yep.
Ties Jeff Gordon for the longest consecutive road course wins. Of course, Dale picked him in the poll, but we'll skip that part.
That's okay. That's okay.
Hey now,
But
I had to use Elliott on a track when I knew he could win.
yeah, I was actually going to save him for the Roval, but I just had a funny feeling with him at Bristol, and he almost won, but fell short. And
I thought you would have said that you had a feeling that I would be in last place and pick him before you anyway.
That too. I have to give a shout out to Eric Jones because I believe they mentioned it on the broadcast, but he has not finished outside. It's either top 10 or top 5 the whole playoffs.
I think it was the top 10.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember finishing top 5 very recently.
But finished third at the Roval. Tough rain course and switching tires and all that, but not many chasers in the top 10 when you look down the list here.
Right.
Well, don't forget, Jones actually had to start last too because his car wouldn't start at the beginning.
Right. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Johnny Dale is at the Kibbe house right now. He's doing a Zoom call with us too.
The homestead.
Yeah. He is not at the Tucson Tim studio.
Dale, do you have?
I was the experiment for to make sure Zoom would be working for when Matt joins us later.
Right. Dale, you got the standings in front of you there by chance?
1 sec, I can bring it up.
The poll.
For
the contest.
Oh, for the contest.
Oh, the contest standings. Sorry, I thought you meant the actual NASCAR ones. All right, so we got Tim in the lead. He scored, let's see here, 42 points last week with William Byron. I got 49 with Chase Elliott. Josh got 34 with Alex Bowman. And the fans used their last attempt at Kyle Busch and got 7 points because he decided to pit during those last, I think, 3 or 4 laps, running like 6th or something.
Yeah. I think he was going to run out of fuel if he didn't pit, so.
Yeah.
At that point, though, I mean, I would have probably just stayed out and let it run dry.
So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet because we have Matt coming on in a little bit here. But so it's been 27 races since we've had a non-playoff guy win a playoff race. Matt Kenseth, 2017 at Phoenix. Do you think there's any chance over these last 4 races that a non-playoff guy gets a win?
I don't know, man. This one's tough. I mean, Denny's been pretty dominant here.
Yeah. You got Kyle Busch out there with no wins yet.
I think Brad's won a time or 2 here this past year or 2.
So, Josh, by non-playoff guy, are you talking once they're eliminated, they're no longer considered a playoff
anybody
guy?
Eliminated that wins a race.
I think we could see that happen this year.
You think it's somebody other than Kyle Busch, or you think Kyle gets the win?
I would say Blaney or Busch are probably the 2 that come to mind for me.
Blaney too, yeah.
Blaney's good here too. Yeah.
You could definitely see Kyle using the chrome horn at Martinsville. I could see that already.
A little bump and dump.
So the final 8 is set. It's Harvick, Hamlin, Keselowski, Elliott, Logano, Truex Jr., Bowman, and despite Kurt Busch winning at Vegas, he's going to be starting dead last to kick off the round of 8. So your bottom 4, Logano, Truex, Bowman, and Kurt Busch heading into the first round.
It's going to be one tough battle, I think. These are some quality drivers here.
I have to
I
kind of
mean,
ask the
don't sleep
question,
on
where's
Kurt
Kevin
Busch
Harvick
with
been?
these tracks.
I think he's been quiet.
He's been very quiet.
I think he's doing it on purpose.
Could be. But, I mean, Hamlin's out there winning races with smashed up cars, and, Harvick's nowhere to be found.
Well, he's already in. He doesn't really have to do much,
I guess.
Why trash up cars if you don't
Yeah.
need to,
Got to get those stage points, though.
Yeah, that's true. You still need points.
You guys feel like
I
there's a
mean,
clear-cut favorite?
Honestly, though, at this point, points really don't matter until for Harvick, pretty much, because he's got tons of them built up,
As
and
far as advancing goes, yeah.
yeah, he's almost pretty much locked into the Final Four at this point, unless something really crazy happens.
I don't know that there's a clear-cut favorite, honestly, for this championship, if I look at it. I mean, like I just said, Harvick, where'd he go?
Yeah.
Mr. Where'd he come from?
Where'd he go?
I mean, we
Well,
were banging the Harvick-Hamlin drum
I
all
don't
year,
know.
but
You know what? I'm going to go on. I think Chase has been riding really, really well right now. And I think he'll definitely get to the 4, but
yeah.
I mean, besides the main two guys, Harvick and Denny, I think that Chase will be right there.
Dale, I think.
I mean,
go ahead.
to me, I would say Kurt Busch is one that stands out to me as a sleeper to get into that Final Four, because
these are 3 good tracks for him.
These are like 3 really good tracks for him.
Yep.
And what is he like? Minus 61 right now.
That's from the leader, though.
Correct, from the leader.
So if we look at him behind 5th, he's behind Logano by 16.
Oh, that's not bad.
5th or 4th, right?
That's only a couple of
stage
wins.
Yeah, 4th he'd be 21 points back.
A couple of top 10s in the stages.
I'm just throwing it out there, laying in the weeds in 6th, quietly having a 1-win season so far is Martin Truex Jr. Already won at Martinsville once this year. Could he do it again in 3 weeks? Possibly. I feel like everybody's sleeping on Truex. I wouldn't do that.
I think so. I mean, but he's just such a crybaby all the time. That's what makes me so mad.
Well, here's the thing with Gibbs. I mean, take away what Denny Hamlin has done this year with his 8 wins or whatever it is. What has Gibbs really done as an organization?
Right.
You got 2 drivers that are winless and missed the playoffs, and another that, won 1 race.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a down year, that's for sure, for Gibbs.
Indeed. We'll see if Christopher Bell could pick up the slack next year, moving over to the 20 car.
So you want the overall standings, Josh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, so overall, we have first place, Tucson Timmy, with 966 points. Second is Josh, 921. Third is now me, 876. And fourth are the fans with 846. So flip-flopped about 40-some points from.
Out of the pie chair.
We're going to keep moving up, too.
Do we know who's getting it? Of the fans?
Kreitzer.
Oh, well, yeah, he'd be the one throwing, so he's the one receiving.
He's got to take one for
no
the
pun
team.
intended.
So, Dale, you said you were torn between 2 guys for this week's race at Kansas.
I am. Torn between Bowman the Showman and Kurt Busch.
Neither of which I could use.
Me either.
So, oh man, it's a tough one because there's some other tracks coming up that I think Kurt Busch would be a good pick for as well. Because I could see him doing good at Martinsville.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Or Texas.
Well, Texas, I got somebody in mind for already. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Showman.
Ooh.
The guy I took last week.
Next year's driver of the
48. I mean, his last 4 finishes there are 9, 2nd, 11, and 8. So
works out,
he runs pretty good there. And, he's, him and Elliott are the only 2 Hendrick cars still in it. So sure they'll give him a good ride for the weekend.
Right.
As long as that anxiety doesn't attack him again.
And you might see some crew swaps there, too. Like maybe they'll get some guys from the other teams that are out, potentially, as far as like tire changers or fuel guys. Get those quicker pit stops. So you know how I was just talking about non-playoff drivers winning?
Yes.
My pick is going to be none other than Eric Amarola.
Ooh.
I hope I can still use him because I don't have those numbers in
I
front
don't
of
have
me.
any of
You
the numbers
can.
either. So
You
gotta
still
point-
have a use.
I know who I'm taking. I don't even think I used once yet.
I could use Amarola, Dale.
You can.
Okay, so that's my pick.
Armadillo.
I was looking over the Kansas history and it was just full of guys that I can't use. So got to pick somebody that's available. So Amarola.
It's not a bad
is-
pick.
Yeah, I could see him getting the top 10.
Yeah. Josh FY Braves.
I
are
thought
getting
maybe.
killed.
I know you can't
Are they?
use them, so I was thinking maybe you might go with the hometown guy, Clint Boyer.
Think I can't use him either.
Nope.
Oh my God, 15 to nothing? Are you kidding me?
Really?
Yeah.
This just in. The Braves are losing 15 to nothing
In the third inning,
in the third. They didn't even show up today.
Wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah, wah.
Nick Saban has COVID.
Does he?
Yep.
Goddamn Affleck. Guarantee you can't get coverage for that.
And Tim, your pick is?
I was torn between two guys, Tyler Reddick and
That's not the first
Chris
time you said
Buescher.
that.
I thought about Reddick too.
I like Chris Buescher. I'm leaning more towards Chris, so I figured probably go with Chris.
Yeah. For me
I
personally,
like
it's
how
been
he
a
runs there.
disappointing season for Buescher.
Oh, yeah.
I expected more
Actually,
out of him.
I think he's actually had a really good season given, the
I thought he was
circumstances
going
with
to be
that
a
car.
little bit better. I mean, you're right, Dale. He definitely was, pretty decent, but I thought he was going to be just a little bit. Not,
I
crazy.
thought, like when it came to the restrictor plate tracks and the road courses, you would see him up there contending for wins, and
Right.
that hasn't been the case.
So I never thought he was really good at those types of tracks, but I mean, he's no Ricky Stenhouse in that 17.
No, not at all. He also is not wrecking on the first lap of any race either, though.
Reckon.
Recky
Reckon
Stenhouse.
damn near killed him.
Well, I think Stenhouse has done that maybe 3 times this year.
Yeah, he's done it quite
Definitely at least twice.
often. Anything else NASCAR related?
Not really. I mean, I think we covered that.
Did we talk about Boyer?
Yeah, we did briefly.
Yeah, a little bit. If you want to bring something up, Dale,
Yeah.
go ahead. You have the floor.
Floor is yours.
10th place finish with
Oh,
no power steering
that
coming from the
part, yeah.
Oh,
back.
yeah. I forgot about
I
that.
thought
yeah.
you meant the retirement. Yeah, that
was
was
a hell of a
impressive as well,
drive.
How you could tell he was exhausted when he got out of the car. He's dumping water on himself,
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
on the ground.
He couldn't even dump it on himself. His hands were shaking that bad, like his
Yeah.
muscles were spasming.
So
He had to go to the medical center and get treatments and everything.
right, and according to Larry Mack, the 2022 car is going to rack and pinion steering, so
Mm,
no more power steering after next year.
that's
Nice.
crazy.
Yeah,
That is crazy decision. But I mean, somebody like him, man, to be able to sit there and, I mean, if it was, I mean, still hard. I mean, if you're at any other oval track,
yeah,
or the tricky triangle or something, I mean, it's a little bit easier. But
Yeah.
having to do a road course from 40-something laps left.
probably the worst possible track to lose your power steering.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you saw. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen the pictures, I mean, just to picture him laying next to his car.
He was
I
struggling.
mean, the strength you have to get through that is unbelievable.
Right. So, unfortunately, the only big news coming out of the NFL this past week is Dak's broken ankle.
Yeah, that was tough.
Wait. What do you mean big news only?
That's the only big news.
Alex Smith is back, baby.
Oh, God.
No, we said big news.
Yeah, Alex Smith jumped back on the field, ironically, the same day that Prescott's lost for the season with a broken/dislocated ankle. Tough to watch.
Yeah, that was. I saw it in real time, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh God, was that terrible?
Yeah, I didn't catch it like when it first happened, but then that replay, I was like, "Oh, thing's
Yeah.
waving at me."
You know, I got in an argument with the guy at work the other day. He was complaining that he doesn't think that the Cowboys are going to pay him now. I'm like, listen, they're still going to pay him.
Yeah, he's got to pay him.
We've seen it before. Des Bryant, his rookie season, got the same injury, returning a punt against the Colts. He still had a pretty productive career. Not a Hall of Fame career, but came back and was successful. So his career is not over.
Right.
It's not even on the level as Alex Smith's injury, and Alex Smith's injury was a bunch of infections, really, is what it was.
Yeah.
So
17 surgeries later.
yeah, all indications are Dak's going to be all right, but he's going to be out for the year and probably killed a lot of fantasy title hopes too with the injury. But
Hey,
Hard-
hey, you
How
know what?
about my luck? I had
The Red Rifle.
I had,
Blues thing.
mhm.
Go ahead, Dale.
I had Dak and Cam on one team, so
Ugh.
but it sounds like Cam might be back this week, so
Well,
at
the
least
good
I'll be
news
able to
is the
start
Cowboys,
somebody.
even with Andy Dalton at the helm, still have the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
So take that, Eagles fans.
Which is crazy because when Dalton came in, I'm like, eee. Well, when it initially happened, and I was literally laying on the couch watching it, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my, like out loud, oh my God. And,
Led the game-winning drive.
yeah, and even Laura's like, what happened? I was like, I think Dak Prescott just broke his foot.
And he's been the definition of durability. He made 69 straight starts to start his career, never missed a game. And ironically, he goes down on a play where he's fighting for extra yards
Yeah.
with the guy hanging on him.
Even you said, I mean, why are you fighting for them extra
Yeah,
yards? But
that's
hey,
just who he is.
Exactly. That's his game, man.
He's a tank. He'll run you over instead of going out of bounds.
Everybody else always says, with the give up slide, Well, he's
He
the one
doesn't
that
do that.
lowers his shoulder and he
Yep.
goes for it. Laura just said, pretty upset that suddenly Andy Dalton played decent.
Well, we'll see what happens on Monday night. They have the Cardinals, so
Yeah, you take him out of that Bengals jersey, he's a decent quarterback.
I might honestly rather Joe Burrow right now.
Oh, Brandon didn't.
I don't know.
Brandon.
Joe Burrow hasn't been lighting the world on fire.
No,
He's
he
no
hasn't.
Justin Herbert, baby.
So now that the Bills fall from the ranks of the undefeated, who do you think is the first to go down between who's left? You got Green Bay, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Seattle.
I can't see Seattle going down yet.
They're on a bye this week, so they're going to win that one.
Well,
There
I
you go,
guess, yeah.
Tim.
Well, who knows? What is anybody facing undefeated teams? Each other?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Pittsburgh's got Cleveland. That'll be a good game.
That will be. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Cleveland beats
Nobody asked
Pittsburgh.
you, Dale.
I like that pick too, honestly, Dale. That's the one I was going to make as well.
They are a tough team.
And the other one that stands out is Tampa Bay against Green Bay.
Yeah. Yep.
You never know. You can't count Brady out of anything.
You might see two or more of the undefeateds go down this week, but man, the Titans were impressive as hell last night against Buffalo.
Yeah. How about
They
Derrick
were.
Henry's push off there? Oh, that was nasty.
Josh Norman, posterized.
Hey, he got A.J. Brown. I have Jonnu Smith in my league.
Yeah, you were solid.
Oh, that was a good game. I was picked to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I only was supposed to get like 111 points. I ended
Yeah.
up with 100. What was it, Dale? 147 or something like that.
It was up there.
Yeah, 147 you put up. It was
Crazy.
like
Still
2
18
tenths
below
less
you.
than I would have.
know. I woke up to
Well,
that
we
that
play
day.
each other this week, Tim.
Yes.
So that's why I meant
Believe me,
if
I'm
we
doing
played a week
everything.
later.
I'm calling NFL and everybody. I'm telling them whoever is on Dale's team, play like shit.
I'll tell you what, our league's pretty tight though. If you looked at the standings, it's nobody's pulling away really.
No, I'm in third. I'm tied for third with 4 people or something,
Yeah.
3 or 4 people.
Yeah, that middle.
Yeah, with
pack is
a
just-
3-2 record too.
Yeah.
Yep. And the tiebreaker's points. It's not head to head.
Yeah. I feel like around this time of the year though, there's always a clump of people in that 2 and 3 and 3-2 range, and
Yeah, it's a long
it's
season.
the comers and goers. Some people are going to fall and others are going to go up.
Right. I know it's a lot for commissioners, but I've seen a lot of people suggest to designate an alternate guy that you would insert into your lineup in case somebody couldn't play, but that's a lot of work for a commissioner to go through, as you know, Dale.
Anybody have
It would
any
be.
input on some football?
And then you have some then you'd have to come up with some kind of like message board thing for people to actually report it, and then people not doing it. And
what do you guys think about the Vikings going for it on 4th down, up by 5, with a chance to extend it to 8, and then eventually losing the game?
kick the field goal.
So the Vikings were up 5, and they had 4th and 1 inside the 10-yard line, the Seattle 10.
Oh yeah.
So Zimmer had the option to either go for it and win the game or kick the field goal and go up 8.
That's
he
why
chose to go for it and he got stuffed.
That's why I didn't see it.
So
because I passed out after the 3rd quarter.
Okay.
Now was that?
All right.
I wasn't watching either at that point, Josh. Now was that prior to Cook going out or after?
Yeah, that
Cook
was right
went
at
out?
the end there. There was only a couple minutes left.
Matt's on.
See, with Cook being out, I wouldn't have went for it. You kick the field goal, go up by the 8, and
all right, Dale.
Take it to overtime if you have to.
We got Matt on.
Matt, can you hear us? Matt?
Hey, big money.
Shows connecting on my screen.
Give it a minute.
Matt, can you hear us? Hey, Matt. Matt, can you hear us?
This is one of those things with doing a live show. You're always at the peril of your technology.
Yep. Just waiting on Matt. Matt, can you hear us?
So once he's in, we'll just have to remember we only got 40 minutes.
Yeah. Matt, if you want to, maybe your volume or something, turn your volume up a little bit.
Shows as Matt. You show as muted right now.
Yeah,
I think
Matt,
you gotta unmute yourself.
unmute your line.
Okay, I think I'm in.
Aha, there he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Big Money Matt Hirschman on the Average Joe's podcast to talk some racing with us. Matt, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks for coming on. Tim, take it away.
Yeah, Matt. How's everything going? How's work today?
Good. We're just this is kind of normal day, but then do some more preparation tonight for the coming weekend, and hopefully we're ready to go.
Right. So yeah, the coming weekend is the King of the Green. You'll be racing. Actually, you're racing Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Saturday I'll be racing for someone else. Actually, car comes out of Connecticut, and he doesn't race too many shows a year. Maybe anywhere from as few as one to as many as maybe 4 or 5. And one of the races he's come to a few times is the King of the Green because the car is like an SK type car, which in Connecticut they call them SKs. Here they call them sport mods. In New York they call them sportsmen. But there's
Kicked out there, Matt.
that's kind of my cup of tea. What I'm best at, probably.
Right. So, yeah, your sport mod on Saturday. Will that be under your name though when you run that, or will it be under the Connecticut name?
Well, yeah, I'm the driver, but yeah, like you said, the car comes out of Connecticut. I don't own it. Rob Galaire Motorsports is the team I'll be racing for.
Okay.
Matt,
Now,
can
have you
talk a
ran
little-
this car before, Matt?
Sorry.
Yes, yeah, like I said, I don't know if I cut out or not, but I usually drive the car a few times a year, sometimes as few as one, sometimes as many as like 4 or 5. We've won the Turkey Derby, wall mod portion of the Turkey Derby we've won before. We've won the King of the Green before in this particular, actually last year. So, yeah, we've had success. It is not what I'm known for or that I know as well as the tour mods, but we should be competitive in both.
Matt, could you talk a little bit about your previous experience and working your way up through the ranks, how your career got started?
Yes, well, my career, a little history lesson. My career started at Evergreen, so I've always called Evergreen my home track. Mahoning Valley is a little closer. Mahoning Valley is about a half hour from home. Evergreen's a little over an hour. But back when I first started, which was in 2000, Evergreen was running the tour type modifieds, where Mahoning Valley at that time was still running more like the sport mod type with narrower tires and 2-barrel carburetors. But when I started, I got an opportunity to drive John Markovich's backup car at Evergreen, and the first year in 2000 was just a limited amount of starts, and I was had a lot to learn because that is where I started in the tour mods. I didn't work my way up the ladder in other classes, and at the end of that 2000 season was the first annual. At that time was called King of the Mountain, and this weekend's race, although it's the 5th annual, it says because it's the 5th year that Jason Makarevich has held the event, they call it the King of the Green now. But really, this event started back in 2000 when I first started racing at Evergreen, and it was called King of the Mountain. And I didn't win. Actually, I crashed out that year. Like I said, very inexperienced. I was just I only started maybe during that summer. So I'd only had a few shows under me, but I won the King of the Mountain in 2001, and that really was my first big win, and it kind of catapulted me to another opportunity to to race for someone else, and just continue to advance my career and go on and do a lot of things and go to a lot of places. But Evergreen will always be home track, and I enjoy racing there and looking forward to the King of the Green weekend, because like I said, this is really although the track was closed a few years, so it's not been held continuously every year. It really started back in 2000, and we've won it probably a handful of times, and always enjoy this race this weekend. It's usually the biggest show of the year there, but we did have the big Tom Casagrande Memorial Race, which had a record payout at the beginning of September. So usually the King of the Green's the big one, but we already had an even bigger race, a little bit back, but still, this is always a big weekend for the track and kind of the last race in this area.
Right. So, Matt. So, I mean, some people that that are logged on watching this, because we are Facebook Live here. I mean, you don't just run. You ran Evergreen, you ran Mahoning. You've actually run in several different states: Florida, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, and the Carolinas stuff. Which I'm sure I think you've actually won at all of those that I just named. But your tour racing, Tri-Track, ROC, and what's it? New Smyrna. You've won at.
Are you talking about like this year or just in general?
Well, yeah, we'll go in general. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've raced modifieds. Obviously, these type of cars race pretty much on the eastern part of the country, so the East Coast mostly. And I've raced from as far south as Florida and as far north as Maine. And actually, it's pretty neat. Last year, you could say we won races from Maine to Florida because we won in those two states last year. But yeah, we've raced these cars all over the eastern part of the United States. Been to a lot of places, done a lot of neat things. And we start our season in Florida in February for Speed Weeks, and then there's racing that usually takes place in the Carolinas in the early spring, like March, April, before things really get started up here. But this year, when that was about to start, and I had races planned to go to North Carolina, that's when the COVID outbreak started, where they started shutting things down, and my season didn't really resume from Speed Weeks in New Smyrna in Florida in February. It didn't resume until June 13th at Mahoning Valley, and then I think it was only a week or two later, Evergreen was their first tour mod race took place. So we lost a lot of races in the spring. Some of them have been made up because I've been racing pretty much wide open since the middle of June. But we're never going to make up everything that was lost. But we're really having a great season despite what we lost, and hoping to just finish strong here.
Right. So you said you started back in 2000. Did you start immediately just with modifieds, or anything smaller, or 4 cylinders or street stocks, or?
No, that's just the way it worked out. I had an opportunity basically to just take a backup car out, shake it down, just get some laps, start at the back of the pack, and it just progressed from there. I mean, the first week, I did that, and then, it wasn't, but a few weeks later, you find yourself in the pack of cars with the competitive cars, and like you said, I didn't set the world on fire the first year, but I already got some wins in my first full year, which was 2001, and then in 2002, I began to travel a little bit. Still raced at Evergreen, but travel as well. Went to my first Race of Champions and a few other shows. I think probably my first Turkey Derby, and then just continue to progress. But like I said, sporadically, I would still come back to Evergreen when I could, and now the last 4 seasons or 5, including this year, since Jason's reopened the track, the tour mods have been like running on about a once a month basis, which is really probably what's best for this division at that track. And we've made pretty much all the shows since the track's reopened because they're racing, a much more limited schedule. I wouldn't be able to. There'd be conflicts if they raced weekly or bi-weekly. But racing the once a month special, they try and avoid usually conflicting with, Mahoning specials or Race of Champions races or things like that to get the best car count possible. So we've been able to attend those and still race close to home, but also travel. One weekend I might be racing at Mahoning Valley or Evergreen, and the next weekend I'd be in New Hampshire. Or now, as the season winds down, there'll be some races again in the southern states in North Carolina, South Carolina coming up in November. So we do our fair share of traveling, but like to race close to home as well.
Right. So basically, it's easy to say that racing is your lifestyle. That's exactly what you love to do.
Yes, plus also that's our business as well. We have a speed shop where we sell the cars and parts that we race, asphalt modified stuff, and do that. So it's pretty much a year-round, 7-day-a-week thing. If we're not working, we're racing or working on race cars. So it's basically my livelihood. Yes.
So, Matt, could you give the average fan what goes into a race weekend, like what you have coming up here at Evergreen this weekend?
Well, there's always a lot of preparation, and like I said, we were racing every weekend, and when you're going week to week, you're racing on the weekend, possibly, even on Sunday. So you unload and just begin to take apart and clean up the cars, and then you make the changes necessary for wherever you're going next. And by the end of the week, you're setting up and then ready to load up for your next event. So we've, like I said, we've been very busy. This past weekend, though, actually ended up it was the first off weekend where I didn't race at all since June 13th when Mahoning Valley opened with that race. And that was the first of many, several consecutive months of racing. And now we had a weekend off. So we're pretty well prepared for this weekend, but, we'll come into it, try and be on our A game, have a plan and try and execute it. And this is a longer race, longest of the season. There's pit stops involved. There's strategy involved. When you take tires, what laps you do that, and where you position yourself on the racetrack. So it's not an easy race to win. We have a very good winning percentage. This year locally, we've done very well between Mahoning Valley and Evergreen. And but sometimes it may look easy because we've won often, but there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot has to go your way, or either you just you need to make the right decisions, and hopefully on Sunday we can do that.
Right. Dale, you got any questions for Matt or no?
You beat me to my questions that I had.
Oh. Well,
So the one thing though that comes to mind for me is you say you're racing almost every weekend across anywhere from Florida all the way up to Maine. On average, about how many races a year does that consist of?
My average is usually in the mid 30s, and believe it or not, we're still on pace to hit that. But had this been a normal season without the postponements and cancellations, I would have been above average this year. I think I would have raced in the low 40s this year, which would have been about as high as I've ever done. There's a few years I've been just over around 40. Most years are in the mid 30s. If it's a poor weather year and you're getting a lot of cancellations, it's sometimes in the low 30s. But we're on pace to try to probably get to the mid 30s, and it's all said and done, it won't be have been affected too much. Although, like I said, there was some things we had planned that were not rescheduled, and we lost those. But hopefully 2021 is a little closer to normal, and we can start out in February and hopefully continue to race throughout the year and have some off weekends, in there, because we're not cramming races in to make up for what was lost. So, and it was definitely busy. It's been successful, so it's you can't complain, but at times it's been pretty tough.
Oh, absolutely. If you're talking, going from basically the whole East Coast, you're probably talking thousands upon thousands of miles, and that's got to be tough with a family and a business, like you said too.
Yeah, you need to have a dedicated crew and an understanding family for sure to be able to do this the way we do it. And like I said, my guys have done a really good job this year, and my family has been along for the ride. And like I said, I'm sure there are some of us that will be looking for the off season to come, but it's a very short one because our last race is Thanksgiving weekend, the Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium, very end of November, and we'll be leaving for Florida the very beginning of February. So there's 2 months off. You got the holidays and things like that, so it goes by pretty quick, and it's not much of an off season, but there'll be a little bit of a break coming up here.
So I was looking too at your. It looks like you raced in a couple of the Whelen Modified Tour races this year. Looks like what was it at White Mountain? You started first and finished second.
Yes, we did 3 races this year. That's about what we do. They didn't end up being the races that were necessarily planned at the beginning of the year, because one of the races we try to do is at Oswego in upstate New York, and that event held on Labor Day weekend. They never raced at all this year up there. So we did end up with a little bit different schedule. We went to White Mountain and Monadnock, which actually weren't even scheduled races on their original schedule. They added those races in, and so did we. Yeah, we did pretty well. We ended up with finishes of, I think, 2nd, 4th, and 6th. And they really all should have been top 5s, but White Mountain was probably the race where we were in the best position to win. We got a bump late in the race leading, and kind of got bumped out of the way, and just didn't recover from it. But we were real competitive. We led laps and won the pole that day. So for a very part-time schedule, we're able to go in and compete with the guys that race that series all the time. And we're right there competing for wins and top 5 finishes.
Matt, do you have any desire to work your way up through the ranks at all, or are you pretty satisfied with where you're at right now?
To be honest, I mean, at one time, yes. That ship is kind of sailed, just being that I'm not in my late teens, early 20s, mid 20s anymore. In my mid 20s, I had some opportunities that were starting to develop, and I actually did two stock car races, the only 2 I've ever done. For at that time, it was called Gillette Evernham Motorsports, which part of that ownership was Ray Evernham, and I was handpicked as one of the drivers to test and then compete in races to possibly get an opportunity to race in what's now the Xfinity or the Truck Series as a development driver to hopefully advance all the way to the Cup Series. And I did really well in those starts. I think we had um, a top 5 finish in the first one, maybe about 4th, and then that was at New Hampshire, and then I got to run another event at Dover, and I think we finished 6th, and we were, I think, as high as 1st even in that race, and those were in what is now known. I'm trying to think what it's known of now. It was the Busch North Series, then it became the K&N Series. I'm not even sure what it goes under now, but it's actually merged, I think, with ARCA, they call it now. And that things were really looking promising. And that is when the big financial downturn happened. That particular team went bankrupt. Ray Evernham moved out of that, partnership he was in, and that team closed up. And really, just in general, the economy took a big hit, and it hit NASCAR hard, and any opportunity that might have been there just basically disappeared. And I just continued on in the modifieds, and never had anything happen without I could race in Truck or Xfinity tomorrow if somebody wants to put up hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
I could be in a car, next week if that was there. And I just never had an opportunity like that, and I was never going to take that kind of financial risk myself when I would have had to give up having race cars myself and being able to afford to race. I just could never justify that decision. I wanted to be in the sport, and I love modified racing. So I decided to just continue with that, and it's turned out really well. I've had a lot of success, so really no complaints. But the opportunity that was there, I think I made the most of it, and I think I would have continued it further, but it just didn't work out.
Right. So let's hop back, Matt, to Evergreen, since talk about King of the Green and all that again. So if my research is correct, you've actually had 4 straight track titles there. You've actually won every race but 6 in the span of 5 years. Is that correct?
I'm not sure exactly on the win count, wins versus losses, but I know it's been a really good percentage. And yes, we have won the 4 track championships since the track reopened in 2016, and we're currently leading going into Sunday to try and make it 5 straight. But yeah, I know. Evergreen is definitely, my most successful racetrack. It was, where I started, like I explained before. And, I've had a great winning percentage there. It is, a place that has a lot of character, and it really helped develop me into the driver that I am today. And I've gone on to race and win at many other racetracks, and Evergreen is a big part of that. It's a challenging track with a lot of character. It's bumpy, rough, worn out. But those kind of racetracks, I've ended up going to many others that have those characteristics and done really well at. So it's definitely prepared me and in a big part of my success I've had elsewhere. And like I said, coming back home, it's kind of like defending your home turf.
Right.
And the big race they had there in September, the second place finisher was Ron Silk, who comes from Connecticut and is a wheel and modified champion and winning driver. And I believe he's entered again for this week. So he'll be tough competition, but I'll try and defend my home turf like I have before.
Nice. So what do specifically, what do you like? What do you enjoy most about running at Evergreen for King of the Green? Is there anything specific? Is it the weekend? The prep for Sunday or?
Yeah, in a normal year, like I said, the King of the Green's just the biggest race of the year. So if you're going to win one all year, this is the one obviously you're going to want to win. This, we happen to have the big Tom Casagrande race back in September. But in a normal season, you have basically your regular races and maybe something a little extra distance, 25 laps or whatever, but nothing that's going to be the length or usually the payout that the King of the Green is. And it's a race that has pit stops and things like that. So it's just kind of that traditional season ending race that most racetracks will close with their biggest show. And, it's just, it's, if you're going to win one, that's the one to win all year. And, like you said, we've done really well so far. It'd be nice to close out the season and get that one as well.
Right. Josh, you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Matt, not to get too personal, but is there any bad blood coming into this weekend? Do you have any, Well, you know what? Who do you consider like your most biggest competitor coming into this weekend, if you have one at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had a really good, clean season. Really, that I don't really have any axe to grind with anyone or any type of thing like that. The racing's been good. I feel like we haven't we've avoided controversy and that kind of stuff. Which, if at all possible, I think it's good to do that. And so really, it's and I try not to really, that stuff can become a distraction. And what I try to do is focus on the task at hand. And you come into the race, I'll certainly know who my biggest competition is. I'll pay most attention to that and really just try and not beat yourself and be on top of your game. Like I said, there's some strategy involved in this race. It's not necessarily who's going to have the fastest car or who can lead the most laps or who could start up front. There's a lot of things. It's a long race, and there's a lot of things that will happen. And I can guarantee you, for those that are coming to watch, no, not one car is going to lead this entire race and dominate or whatever. It's there's going to be comers and goers, and depending on strategy, when somebody gets tires, there's definitely speed in that, and some might do that earlier, some might do that later, and have more speed at the end. But it's all timing, and like I said, that's what the fun part of this race is there's more to it than just going out and just having a fast race car. So we'll try and do the best we can. And like I said, our focus is on winning. And like I said, we'll try and pay attention to who we need to and see if we can come out on top.
Right. That's great, man.
So Matt,
yeah, go ahead.
one
Yeah.
question I have is, you mentioned it's not the traditional race. There's going to be pit stops. So how does a pit stop work with like a modified? I know it's not going to be like what we're used to seeing, like with NASCAR and stuff like that.
Well, it is kind of like a NASCAR pit stop in terms of the jacks we use, the air guns we use, and the way it happens. The only difference is we can change 2 tires during this race, but you can only change 1 at a time. So in a NASCAR pit stop on TV, a lot of times they're doing all 4, or if they just do one right sides, you'll have 2 changers, a jackman, 2 carriers, where in this, you're only doing 1 at a time. So it's really something that 3 people can do. You have a jackman, a tire carrier, and a tire changer. And in this race, like I said, you can't take them both at the same time. So that means you're making 2 pit stops, 2 separate pit stops. And but it really is it's a live stop. So you are competing with the other teams and to see who can come out of the pits ahead of who. And it is like a traditional like NASCAR style live pit stop. It's just we're only doing one tire at a time.
And then it's like you kind of have to leave the track and come back on, right? It's not like in the middle or anything, right?
Correct, but they do sort of try to create like a pit road type thing. You won't just go driving out off to your trailer and pull up to your trailer. They'll create like a pit road, and we will at Evergreen you exit going into turn one and you enter in turn two. So basically, when you exit the track and you make that left hand turn, they create like a pit road setup where there's pit boxes or stalls, and and then you re-enter in turn two. So it's the only unfortunate part with that is the way the pits are set up there. Fans can't view it because pit stops are something kind of unique and neat if the fans could watch, but the way Evergreen is, the pits are set up, they won't view it. They'll just be able to see who goes off in what order and when they come back on, what the order is.
All right, Matt. Well, here's your time. If you want to throw out some of your sponsors here, we're at the almost at the top of the time for our Zoom call. So if you want to shout out some of your sponsors here, and then we'll let you go.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me on. And this year I've actually had a local sponsor. So Harry's You Pull It, which is probably in your area, very close to the racetrack in Hazleton. Is we've had their name on our car actually since the end of last season. So it's been nice because there's some years where I have sponsors for shows when I go traveling in the Northeast or wherever it may be. But this year we've had a sponsor for races at Mahoning Valley and Evergreen with their yards in Hazleton, Pennsburg, and Allentown. So it's been good to represent them and give them good advertisement. And the best advertisement is if we can get them into victory lane, and we've done that this year. So so far it's been a good relationship between us and Harry's You Pull It.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And we here do appreciate you taking the time out because I know you're pretty busy, especially with the upcoming week and everything. So we really do appreciate you taking the time out just to come, sit and have a couple of conversations with us. And we do appreciate everything you do. And you're one hell of a driver, and we love seeing you race, man.
Sure. Thank you. We'll do it again sometime. And thanks for your support of the track and the weekend coming up. Hopefully weather's looking good. So hopefully it's a good weekend and there's a lot of good racing to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck this weekend, Matt.
Thank you.
Take care. Dale, are you still there?
I am.
So that was interesting, getting different perspective other than Brandon from a modified driver.
We do love Brandon, though.
We do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Brandon's our guy. But Brandon's not racing this weekend, is he?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he is?
Street stock. Aaron Higgins.
That's right, yeah.
Aaron Higgins' street stock car.
Well, I guess we could root for Matt Hirschman then in the modified division.
I won't do it. No, I'm kidding. Good luck, Matt.
He's becoming like the mid-2000s Jimmy Johnson of modifieds.
Well, I mean, Jimmy Johnson's great, but...
So the reason why the Facebook Live kept cutting in and out is I didn't want to be rude to Matt and tell him to turn his volume down.
Was it the volume?
I had to go on OBS, and every time he talked, I turned his thing down and turned ours back up. So.
Yeah, that's,
the nature
trial
of the beast.
Trial and error. Are we talking about anything else?
I don't know. Anything else you guys want to add? I mean, the World Series is almost set, at least in the American League.
Right.
Tampa Bay is up 3-0 on the Astros, so that should be over maybe tonight.
Well, I guess I'll run through the recap of what this weekend is going to go since we just had Matt Hirschman on. Big money, Matt Hirschman.
Big money.
We really do appreciate him taking
Not
the
young
time
money.
out.
That's Kyle Larson.
That's Kyle Larson. But we do really appreciate Matt coming on and taking the time out. I mean, we know he's really busy, and he's always busy. So we wish him best of luck this weekend. So October 16th is the open practice, which from I saw Ted Groh said that the weather's looking a little bit better for Friday. So get out there, get your practice in. October 17th, late models Evergreen modifieds, 4 cylinders and junior 4 cylinders are running. So That's Saturday. Sunday's the big one. King of the Green, Tour Modified Street Stocks and Factory Stocks. Tour Modifieds, we'll see Matt Hirschman there running the number 60. Street Stocks, we'll see our boy Brandon Ultra running Aaron Higgins Street Stock. I think that's the 19. I think December 19. I think they said Friday or Saturday is $25. Tom, I know you just you're watching now. Just correct me if I'm wrong. The prices on admission for Saturday and Sunday. But speaking of Tom, though, we really appreciate the opportunity he's given us. Tom, Ted Grow, who we had on last week, the Mouth. We really appreciate everything that he's done for us. And Bill Elkins, who has actually been sharing a lot of our stuff lately, and we really appreciate the support, and we'll do everything he can to, keep supporting local tracks and do what we can do,
I did want to say, if you guys missed any part of the interview with Matt Hirschman, you could find this podcast probably in about a half hour or so on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you want to go back and listen to any part of this show or Matt Hirschman in particular, I should have that uploaded within the hour.
All right. Dale, you got anything?
No.
All right.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Average Joe's podcast. I do love our theme song, but unfortunately we will not have that tonight to close it out. Next week we'll be back with a recap of Kansas. We'll be previewing Texas and picks just to review. Who'd you take?
I took
Reddick?
no, Chris
Busher.
Busher, Almirola, and Dale took Bowman, right?
Alex the Showman.
Bowman the Showman.
So fans, get those votes in. You got a chance to pie Dale still. I don't think you're going to catch me and Tim, sorry, but
Sorry.
Dale is catchable, so make sure you get those votes in and
Dale
pick a
is
driver.
catchable.
Hey, is that because I'm fat and slow? Is that what you're trying to say?
We weren't going to put that into it, but sure, if you want to go there.
No, it's because you're third in points. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in,
Thank
and
you.
take care. Dale, you still there?
So you want me to hang up?
It's up to you. I stopped streaming.